With Battlefield 6 looming on the horizon like some weird giant bald head, let's take a look at 5 legacy maps from other Battlefield games that absolutely need to reappear in Battlefield 6. Number 5, Siege of Shanghai. For many people, myself included, Siege of Shanghai was my first introduction to Battlefield 4, and what a first impression it left. The most notable feature of this map, and what separates it from many others in the series, is its extreme verticality, especially when the skyscraper is still standing. This is a true urban map in every sense of the word, and the claustrophobic streets, surrounded by skyscrapers and buildings, makes for some intense mixed vehicle and infantry combat. Parachuting roof to roof, hunting enemy snipers like some kind of insane base jumper is still incredibly fun, and I hope more than anything Battlefield 6 returns us to the fun, open sandbox gameplay of maps like Siege of Shanghai. Of course, I'd like to see some updates and revisions here. The combat within and on top of the skyscraper makes for some incredibly epic and fun moments, especially once you involve helicopters. However, once the building comes down, the map loses a lot of its dynamic design and can become a bit of a slog in my opinion. I'd love to see a revised or reimagined Levolution here, and I'd love to see it opened up a bit more and expanded, with more vehicles and objective options. As currently, the US especially can be penned into their spawn pretty easily in one-sided matches. Overall though, a fantastic map for Conquest that deserves to return to the series. Number 4, Zeebrugge. This may be an unexpected pick, but I will die on the hill that this map is one of the most fun and dynamic maps in Battlefield 1, and with a few tweaks could become one of the best maps in the entire series. Zeebrugge is an extremely unique design for a Battlefield map, and creates some really epic moments. Infantry warfare is focused on the narrow, open-aired corridor of the pier, subbase, and bunkers, while at the same time naval and aerial battles rage around them as destroyers, torpedo boats, and airships battle in the open waters around the objectives. The mix of naval, air, and infantry combat make this map a real treat to play, as no land vehicles are featured at all, which is very different for a Battlefield map. I have a soft spot for naval-focused maps in Battlefield games, and this one completely fits the bill. As fun as this map is, a few tweaks could really make it shine, and would be especially needed with a change in setting for Battlefield 6. The expansion of the water area, and addition of more naval vehicles, including true submarines, would be amazing. I would also tweak some of the layout of the bunkers and subbase here, adding more levels and underground passages, creating some really tight infantry corridors, and ways to navigate along the pier safely from incoming naval bombardments. But I would keep the nighttime aesthetic, as it adds a very haunting and unique atmosphere to this map. Overall, an amazing map that deserves a revisit in Battlefield 6. Number 3, Arica Harbor. When I think back to all the wonderful memories I have of Bad Company 2, I find I'm usually thinking of Arica Harbor. Like almost all Bad Company 2 maps, this is a very linear design. However, it fits incredibly well with the fast-paced, intense, and chaotic gameplay of Bad Company 2. The small town and various structures are a fantastic showcase for the destruction mechanics, and as buildings flatten and cover becomes scarce, the fighting can really grow frantic in these streets. Every area of this map is fun to fight in, from the bridge and storage area to the beach, towns, and hills above. While Rush is by far my favorite mode in Bad Company 2, and clearly many maps were designed with Rush in mind, including this one, I think Arica Harbor is actually one of the few that also makes for a truly great Conquest map. All that being said, it wouldn't be enough to just throw this map as it exists into Battlefield 6 with 64 players or even more, turning it into an absolute meat grinder. It would require a fairly significant overhaul to work with more players and with different mechanics. Expanding the playable area and further fleshing out the town, dock, and bridge portions could address the linearity and claustrophobia that would occur with more players on this map. However, doing this without sacrificing the intensely fun firefights that can still be had on this map to this day is something I'd love to see. Number 2, Strike at Karkand. I know Karkand has shown up in a multitude of Battlefield games, but it's still not enough for me. I want more. I want Karkand to be the new Wake Island of Battlefield. Bring it back in every entry, I don't care. I absolutely love this map from a design, gameplay, and nostalgia perspective. My favorite iteration by far being its introduction within Battlefield 3. Karkand is just an excellently designed and fun to play map, with a great mix of infantry and ground vehicle warfare. The different sightlines and elevation changes for the Conquest flags makes for some really interesting gameplay variety and tactical approaches. Also, the aesthetic of a war-torn city is just classic Battlefield, and really captures a lot of the atmosphere and feelings of being a boots-on-the-ground soldier in a large-scale conflict. There really aren't that many things I would change in the Battlefield 3 iteration, outside of maybe being able to enter more buildings, or interactable elements that change the gameplay in some way. Maybe trains that function on the railway or boats that pass through the canal area. I would, however, leave air vehicles out of it, as I love the focus on ground combat within the map. Battlefield 3 had some fantastic maps, and this one still shines brightly among the bunch. Another enhanced return to Karkand would really help Battlefield 6 feel familiar and engender good feelings within the fanbase. Number 1, Propaganda. I know, another smaller infantry-focused map here, but Propaganda is just so well designed and executed that it's hard to argue about it being one of the best maps in Battlefield 4. Another urban map with mixed infantry and vehicle warfare, Propaganda has a wonderful flow to its gameplay and offers many opportunities to flank, assault, and dynamically react to pushes and defenses. This map really shines in Conquest, which of course makes it an instant Battlefield classic. However, some of the other modes in Battlefield 4 were incredibly fun here as well. Chain Link, Obliteration, and Deathmatch were all a blast to play on this map. The North Korean dictatorial aesthetic of this map is also just awesome, and fighting around the giant monuments and sterile block-like buildings just feels so Battlefield. Much like Karkand, there really isn't much I would change here. Of course, expanding the map with an increased player count to create a truly chaotic urban warfare arena would be really cool. However, I don't want the excellent flow and design to be compromised here. Keeping the trains running and maybe adding some more mechanics around them would be a cool touch as well. Overall, this map when released was an instant Battlefield classic and deserves to return in Battlefield 6. What maps did I miss? Do you agree or disagree with my list? I'd love to hear your thoughts on what maps should return in Battlefield 6 in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like as it really lets me know that this content is worthwhile in sharing. That's it for me, until next time.